I do think young people have a superpower they're not aware of, and that is that the older generation does listen to them sometimes. And what I mean by that is they think they don't have a voice, they think they're too young to speak up. But when I see kids go to a Senate hearing and they're the only child or the only teenager that speaks up for public comment, the adults in the room listen because it's novel. It's very different. You know, there's 30 adults there and there's one teenager. And I don't think it's naivety. I think it is the hope that they're bringing for a different generation who is looking at things very differently than our generation and is facing climate change and facing, you know, a lot of different issues politically, no matter where they are in the world. And they are a generation that really cares deeply and has a lot of power if they know where to direct it.
Welcome to the Better Life for Animals podcast, where we amplify the voices of animal advocates, sanctuaries, and changemakers working toward a kinder, more compassionate world. Through powerful stories and expert insights, we shine a light on the efforts to rescue, protect, and advocate for animals. Be sure to subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. Every follower helps us reach more people. And support animal sanctuaries. Enjoy the conversation.
Today's episode is one I have been looking forward to for months because we're talking about something bigger than any one sanctuary, any one story. We're talking about the next generation of animal advocates and how we get them in the room. On September 19th, Better Life for Animals is teaming up with LEAP, Leaders for Ethics, Animals, and the Planet, to host the Youth for Animals Summit. It's completely 100% virtual. It's completely free, and it will be running from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific. And it's built for teens, parents, teachers, and mentors who care about animals, leadership, and building a kinder future. Space is limited, so by the end of the episode, I hope you want to be registered, and I will tell you exactly how. To help me unpack what this summit is really going to deliver, I've brought on my co-host for the event and someone whose work I have admired for years. Danielle Hanosh is the co-founder and executive director of LEAP, and the co-founder also of Blackberry Creek Farm Animal Sanctuary up in Northern California. So she's a very busy woman. She is a former teacher, a children's author, and honestly, one of the most thoughtful people I know when it comes to humane education and youth leadership. Danielle, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited to talk about the summit.
Me too. Danielle, let's just start at the beginning. LEAP exists as an alternative to the more traditional youth animal programs. So what was that moment that told you kids needed a completely different model, one built on ethics and compassion instead of raising animals for slaughter?
Yeah, well, if you don't know, or if our viewers don't know the origin story of LEAP, we had, and like many sanctuaries have, students contact us from FFA, Future Farmers of America, and 4-H, which are the more traditional agriculture programs across the United States. And regularly, sanctuaries are contacted about taking animals that kids have lovingly raised throughout the year and have decided they do not want to send to auction or slaughter or to breeding programs at the end. And while sanctuaries occasionally have room to take some of those animals, and students occasionally are able to get them out of the system, which is very challenging, there was really no alternative. So these kids were, you know, exiting 4-H or FFA, saving their animals, but had nowhere else to go to interact with animals hands-on, to learn more about them, even volunteering at local dog and cat shelters or local, wildlife rehabilitation centers to work with hands-on with animals that way. You have to generally be 18. And so that's kind of how it was born. And then it has grown and expanded into all sorts of different areas from there.
For anyone who has never heard of LEAP before today, what does a young person actually experience in your program? Just quickly walk us through it, if you would.
Sure. Absolutely. So our program offerings have varied. Our traditional program is the LEAP High School program at sanctuaries across the US and Canada. And for that, students commit to a 1 day a month class, and it's generally all day at their sanctuary chapter. So if you think of Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, students have local chapters where they live across the country. And they will go to the sanctuary to an actual classroom time, generally an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then they have a plant-based lunch and they get to try all kinds of different vegan food while they're there. And then they have a hands-on workshop. And those range widely from farm animal care to wildlife conservation and rewilding to plant-based cooking and so forth.
Well, as you know, Danielle, I'm a huge fan of yours personally and the work that you do. And when I discovered, what you do, we were all on it, and we are the ones who recommended and suggested that we team up together because, like you, Better Life for Animals is all about reaching compassionate, information, but it's got to get to the young people, I think. I don't think that we're doing the full job that we can do unless we're talking to children, teenagers, and young adults, along with their parents, like you said, teachers. This is really that space that Better Life for Animals wants to enter because we want to be there for those kids as well as, well, as like we like to say, children of all ages. But when people see that, they think of children. So
Yeah.
I'm so happy that we get to do this together.
Me too, absolutely. And we have since expanded from high school down to middle school at sanctuaries. And now this year we're having a brand new pilot program teamed up with the SOSA, the Save Our Species Alliance, and it is a wildlife conservation program in classrooms. So we're going all the way to kindergarten this year.
So let's paint the picture for our listeners. September 19th, free virtual, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific. Who should be clearing their Saturday for this, and why does that matter, Danielle?
Absolutely. Great question. So I think all ages would appreciate this summit. It is going to be designed to be interactive. So I think no one, kids or adults alike, wants to spend their Saturday for 6 hours just staring at a screen and not interacting. And so we have a variety of different speakers that are going to speak in sessions that are going to range from about 15 to 25 minutes. And then at the end of each session, there's going to be an action item or a hands-on activity that people get to do to apply what they just learned in the session. And so people can join us for the entire day. They can join us for whichever sessions they'd like. And I would say it's great for anyone from elementary school all the way through adults, because specifically we have some youth advisors from our Youth Advisory Council for LEAP. We have some other students that will be talking directly from student to student, and then of course some adult mentors. And so I think it's really great for anyone who wants to get involved with youth in their organization, in their school, in their career, really the general public. I mean, a lot of people can be an advocate for animals even if they don't work in the space. So we welcome anyone to come to the summit and learn.
One of the tracks is AI ethics and the future of animals. Why do you feel strongly about bringing that conversation to a teen audience?
It's one of the things that we hear the most in LEAP. I have my own LEAP cohort here at Blackberry Creek Sanctuary, and they are all high school students, and it's something we talk about a lot, and it's something their parents have brought up actually at some of our joint sessions when we have parents join us for some of the learning and some of the reflection from the students. I think AI is a hot topic right now in every area. It is drastically already changing the world, both for good and for bad, and people have very strong opinions on both sides. And it's also shifting so radically, so quickly, without a lot of regulation yet, that I think it's just really important for us all to talk about. I know personally, I just did a AI fellowship with Electric Sheep, which is a nonprofit focused on helping animals through AI. So basically, acknowledging the fact that whether we like it or not, AI is here. And so, how can we as animal advocates maximize the potential to help animals and minimize the potential to harm animals? And having ethical conversations around that, and also designing practical tools that will be beneficial, as AI continues to grow and just speed along and changing the world for positive and negative for animals.
Because AI isn't going anywhere. And
Right.
so I think you're right that we need to learn how to work with it and how we can use it to help animals and
Yeah.
be discriminating with what we know it's about and how we can use it for good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So careers with purpose is another track. So for a 15-year-old who loves animals but who has no idea which career they are interested in or what real career exists in this space, what does that session open?
I think that traditionally, from all generations, our generation, the younger generations, I think when we thought of as a kid, I want to help animals, we thought we had to be a veterinarian. And that is one path that is very much needed for small animal and large animal medicine, and a great path to take if that's, what you're interested in. But I think so often we all got locked into that was the only way to help animals. And so this session will explore ways that careers in a variety of different areas can help animals, whether directly or indirectly. And so, yes, we have the traditional careers, like wildlife rehabilitator or veterinarian, but we also have things like animal attorneys, right? Lawyers that speak
Mm-hmm.
up for animals, teachers that teach animal law, people that write policy on Capitol Hill and that lobby for better laws for animals. We have people that run sanctuaries, people that run rescues, people that run education programs, people that run podcasts, so whatever they're interested in, we really want to just open their mind to the idea. And honestly, adults too, it's never too late for a career change. And we hear people all the time say, we wish LEAP existed when we were kids or when we were in high school, and they're 45, 50 years old. It's not too late to get involved with an organization or to even change careers. And so just to expose people to all those jobs that are so needed, I think is the main goal of that session.
Social media for good is on the agenda too. I know that I live on social media for Better Life for Animals every day, but what do you want teens walking away with so that they can understand about using their own platforms to actually create change and not to just scroll past it?
For that session, I think the thing that they will walk away with is how powerful each of us can be using whatever platform we have. And it doesn't matter if they're young because there's a very large audience, as we all know, on social media in all different categories with all different interests. And most young people are on social media for better or worse. And so, how can they use their individual platform to positively break those stereotypes of everything from vegans being weird and fringe and, hippies and kind of on the edge of society? I think a lot of stereotypes exist around that, especially in high school and college. And I think for people to be able to break that and just explain via their profile, via their social media influence, that, plant-based diets are not only just a diet, but a lifestyle and the reason behind that, and really to pitch that positively. We see a lot of angry vegans. We see a lot of people which understandably they see a lot of animal cruelty in their jobs, and so they're wanting to share those cruelty videos, which is an important part of advocacy, absolutely, and something social media can use. But I think especially for young people, that tends to push them away from the movement. And I think we're going to talk about how do we use it in a positive way to not only educate but to empower the next generation to help bring others on board in whatever way that they're able to help.
You're listening to Better Life for Animals podcast. Our mission is to amplify the voices of animal advocates, sanctuaries, and changemakers working toward a kinder, more compassionate world. But we can't do it alone. We need your help. First of all, go ahead and subscribe to this channel wherever you're watching or listening. And then get involved by visiting betterlifeforanimals.com. That's betterlifeforanimals.com. Be sure to check out our blog, learn more about incredible sanctuaries, and explore our book section, where 100% of net proceeds from book sales are donated to sanctuaries. Every action you take helps to make a difference. And remember, subscribe to this channel. And now, back to the show.
I'm really looking forward to that segment.
Me too.
So there's also a track on mental health, nature, and connection.
Mhm.
And that's not something you'd expect in a typical activism event. So why is that important for us to make space for that?
I think a lot of us are inside on screens a lot of the time. And as technology has increased, in our has increased our productivity and is really only doing so more with AI. I think that we all thought AI was going to make our lives easier, and in many ways it is, but it's also making us much more productive in a much shorter amount of time, which then just leads us to do more tasks. And I think we are constantly not only behind screens, but just, I don't want to use the term rat race. Like, that's not what it is. It's a constant influx of information and attention, and our attention is limited, right? And we tend to give a lot of attention to things that are draining rather than filling our bucket and empowering us. And one of those things is being in nature. And unfortunately, society in most places now is just built where we are not out in nature like we used to be. It is why people are so disconnected from their food. It is one reason mental health suffers. And I see it especially amongst young people. One of our students created the Take a Hike program this year to get kids outside, engaging with each other, connecting with each other face to face without technology in nature. And it's been so empowering, not only for the students, but for their parents. A lot of them were like, we didn't realize how much we needed this. And I think making that connection and making space for that, even if it's a small part of your day, is so important. And it recharges all of us as advocates to connect back and be more grounded. And probably, I like to think, for most people, it helps avoid burnout as well.
Well said. So, speaking up for animals, a lot of teens feel like their voices don't matter yet, or that they're too young to be taken seriously. But so, what's the most practical tool this session hands them?
I think the hands-on activities after every session
Mm.
are going to be really practical for students. For example, when we talk about animal law and policy, they're going to learn how to look up their local representatives, how to find contact information, how to send a quick email, like a letter template, start a quick petition. These things that really don't take that much time if you know how to do them, but can have a really big impact. And I think that walking away from it, I also hope they find one or two sessions that they're particularly passionate about, and they're able to also connect with those speakers. We will have all their contact information available so that if they would like to pursue a career in that area, or if they want help with their advocacy, they will have a mentor immediately to assist them with that. Because I do think young people have a superpower they're not aware of, and that is that the older generation does listen to them sometimes. And what I mean by that is they think they don't have a voice, they think they're too young to speak up. But when I see kids go to a Senate hearing and they're the only child or the only teenager that speaks up for public comment, the adults in the room listen because it's novel. It's very different. There's 30 adults there and there's one teenager. And I don't think it's naivety. I think it is the hope that they're bringing for a different generation who is looking at things very differently than our generation and is facing climate change and facing, a lot of different issues politically, no matter where they are in the world. And they are a generation that really cares deeply and has a lot of power if they know where to direct it.
I can say, as a very much an adult, I really pay attention to what children have to say on this topic, especially because they're the ones they haven't been indoctrinated into believing something else, that it's natural, that it's the way we've always done it, to turn off the fact that it's cruel. So when they're able to speak out on that, and knowing that they are the future
Mhm.
and that we need them desperately because time is running out,
Yes.
I think their voices are 10 times as important as someone in her 60s. So
Yeah.
just know that, kids.
If I
And
can give an
also,
example, can I give
yeah.
an example of that, Cheryl? I think this weekend, I just got back late last night from our Youth Advisory Council retreat. It's an annual retreat that our youth advisors go on, focused on wildlife and leadership. And we were at a marine life center that is a rehabilitation facility that cares for animals and then re-releases them back into the ocean. And we were, listening to a talk on sea turtles and how sea turtles, one of the most common, there's boat strikes, there's disease, there's things like that. But one of the most common reasons they see their sea turtle patients, which are thousands every year, are because of fishing line entanglement and fishing hook entanglement and swallowing fishing line. And we listened to this lovely presentation by these docents, and then we walked over to the cafeteria and they were selling fish. And it the kids were all like, "Wait, what?" And it was such a cathartic moment for many of them. Like it was just so obvious. And a couple of them actually went up to one of the employees and said, "We just learned that fishing is the reason that all these turtles are here. Why are you selling fish in the cafeteria?" And I think, that was an interesting conversation and one that they are going to keep pursuing through some letters to that organization to see if they would like to get at least a few plant-based menu options and to reduce the amount of fish. And they had a great conversation about how to diplomatically and gently talk to this organization about that. But here's these six young women, all in high school or college, who got in the car and immediately were like, "This is a disconnect. I don't think they mean it intentionally. How can we help bridge that gap? What can we do as young people?" Because the employees did listen to this group of teenagers that came over and was interested and curious and concerned. And that was just a great everyday advocacy moment that didn't take a lot of time or, money, that they were very passionate about. And it was really cool to see. I'm really proud of them.
That is an excellent example of a story that changes perspectives. I love that.
Yeah.
How many places have we gone where they're teaching you one thing and serving you another? It's all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we both know, once you see that, you can't unsee it. And how lovely and empowering is it that that kids are seeing it, and they're the ones that are, it's all about money, right?
Yes.
So they're going to be the ones looking for that plant-based alternative, and they're hearing that because it's like, okay, well, these are the consumers of the future. So their voices
Absolutely.
are very, very powerful.
Very powerful. Agreed.
Yes. So let's talk about the parents who are listening right now. I know some of them are wondering, is this just another screen time event? What do you want them to know about why this is worth their kids' Saturday?
I think so. LEAP is obviously wonderful that it's so hands-on and it's in person when we have our sanctuary activities, but obviously not all students live near a sanctuary or live near a participating sanctuary. And I think all of these sessions combined, whether they come to, the whole day or half a day, each one of them is going to give them a practical tool to help them in the future. So I think no matter what they want to do, for example, even if they want to be a veterinarian, but we're talking about policy and law, or we're talking about art for advocacy, or we're talking about social media for advocacy, all of those things are interrelated. And I think instead of thinking of it as giving up your Saturday, you think of it as you've got this basically free high level course with a bunch of different leaders from across the country donating their time on a Saturday to really empower students and give them that voice and that perspective. A lot of kids are looking for things to do that relate to animal welfare and environmentalism and how to help. And there's really not a lot of places, like I said earlier, they can get involved, especially when they're under 18. So this is a great way for them to do that. And I would add that if they don't live near a LEAP sanctuary and they're interested in any of these topics, at the end of the sessions, at the end of the day, we're going to have the link and the opportunity for them to start a LEAP club on their campus, and have free mentorship from us to create community service projects that are high impact and bring people together in their community for animals and the environment. And so it'll be a great way, especially for those high school kids that need community service hours for school, to also be mentored and be supported through that.
Well said. Okay, closing pitch time. It's virtual and space is limited. So Danielle, in 30 seconds, can you tell everyone listening exactly how and where to register right now?
Yes, absolutely. So this is a free event. Again, it's for all ages. We encourage parents to watch with their children, teachers, mentors, sanctuary leaders, volunteers. So the virtual summit is completely free, and you go to betterlifeforanimals.com to sign up. We highly encourage parents and teachers, sanctuary leaders, mentors, volunteers to tune in with their children, or even by themselves, so that they can also learn and be mentors for the next generation.
Excellent. Danielle, thank you for everything that you're building with LEAP and for co-hosting this summit with us. To everyone listening, mark your calendars, Saturday, September 19th, and head to betterlifeanimals.com/BLFA-LEAP, LEAP-2026 to reserve your free spot. Bring your kids, bring your students, bring your whole family, because let's build a kinder world for animals and the planet together. See you on September 19th.
Thank you for joining us on the Better Life for Animals podcast. Together, we can create a world where all beings are treated with dignity, respect, and care. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening. It helps us reach more people and spread awareness about the incredible work happening in animal sanctuaries. You can also share this episode with friends and fellow advocates to keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep speaking up, taking action, and making a difference for the animals.